interesting. Let's go to Leslie Marshall, who's been in touch with a lot of liberals who don't like how this election unfolded. Leslie, so I'm going to beg to differ. You said that Donald Trump was the most beatable candidate, and that sure got proven wrong.
Well, I didn't think he was the most beatable. Remember, I said I live in a state where Arnold Schwarzenegger became my governor. I said don't underestimate name recognition, big bravado, and the cult of personality of celebrity. And Donald Trump had all of those. I really thought that he was an easier candidate to beat, quite frankly, than a John Kasich or a Marco Rubio. And I, like the pollsters, was wrong. I want to speak to this protest because I am a liberal Democrat who supported Hillary Clinton, and I have puffy eyes from crying a day and a half, and I'm wearing black for mourning today. However, I'm not out on the streets. I voted yesterday. And to the point of some of the people on your panel, one, a lot of Bernie, Bernie or bust, they stayed home, and you don't protest now. You should have got out and voted before, because if you had the youth, and then you had the African-American vote in many of those blue-collar states like Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Michigan, and then you added to it those people that put their vote for Gary Johnson, this would be a very different conversation today. So I would prefer them to have voted before than cry after.
Yeah, I mean, hello. I mean, you got to engage in the democratic process, and you don't use this as an excuse to go out and protest and, raise some HELL, which is, let's face it, there's an element of that. Right? Especially, you look out there in Portland, Oregon, or Oakland, California.
Absolutely. And what do they want at this point? I mean, at this point, it looks like just the world's biggest temper tantrum. They're burning flags, they're massive civil disobedience, they're blocking roads. What's the end game? We know that they're frustrated with the fact that Donald Trump has won the presidency, but what are they after at this point? That's what I don't quite understand. Is this just them trying to relieve pressure? Or are they actually protesting for something? Do they want the attention of Congress?
They want the attention of, they want attention. They want people to say, okay, the world is so unruly now because Donald Trump is going to be our president. Oh my goodness gracious, what are we going to do? This is exactly what they're trying to do. And they want attention, right?
Yeah, I'm going to go out and give them a hug after. I mean, that's really what they want. No, listen, they are actually really undermining the democratic process. When Donald Trump made the claim that this election is rigged, a lot of people pushed back and said, we are the gold standard for democracy throughout the world. Other countries, especially third world countries with dictators, strive to have our open and fair democratic process. And now they're going out and just saying, this is not what we like. It wasn't fair. It was rigged. No, it wasn't. Donald Trump won this election fair and square, and he is the 45th president of the United States, period.
And he has a tremendous opportunity in front of him, Charles. I mean, he's got the wind at his back. He's got the House, he's got the Senate, he's got the Oval Office, and he is a guy who wants to get stuff done. I mean, I made the point earlier, his ego alone, let's face it. And I say that in a positive way because you need a ton of ego to be the president of the United States of America. His ego alone will not tolerate ineffectiveness. He's going to want to see a massive GDP number. He's going to want to see wages increase. He's going to want to see record low unemployment.
And I think that's also why he really buckled down at the end and did the things that needed to be done to win, is because he really didn't want to lose. And didn't want to lose to Hillary Clinton. It is a tremendous opportunity that he has right now, and what I think is kind of interesting about it is that this is a guy who thinks outside of the box. He does everything. He tears every rule book up. Starts from scratch with everything, and that's not a bad place to start if you're going to try to fix the mess that is Washington.
Yeah, I think there really is an opportunity. I say this over and over again because our Federal Reserve has been put in a bit of a bind, and I don't have a whole lot of use for Fed governors, especially the way they're talking to the media, like every time you turn around. But they have been the only game in town because you know why? President Obama, he can't reach out. It just wasn't in his DNA. He wasn't able to get anything done. So you had no effectiveness on the fiscal policy side. You were left with only monetary policy. Well, guess what, Evan? Now there is a chance to actually get stuff done, to actually see meaningful reform, to repeal things like Obamacare, which are crippling businesses, to find a way to get lower taxes, to incentivize companies to bring all those offshore profits back here home. I mean, if you're able to unleash this prosperity, what is the potential?
It's limitless at this point. But what Donald Trump really needs to do is he has about a year with the American public to get two types of results. One, tangible results, something that everybody around their dinner table can say, Donald Trump made my bills less and I don't have to pay more for cost of living. And two, an emotional result, such as some sort of big victory over ISIS or something that we can be proud of as a nation. And if he can do that in the first year, he's doing very well. Otherwise, voters and Americans of both sides of the aisle will become more and more impatient with him, and that's a risk.
All right, stay with me. I want to keep talking about this. Again, I just want to point out to everyone, there's a lot of opportunity right now on the economic front, and he may be able to really get stuff done in a way that we just haven't seen. You're looking at Chicago there, again, more protesters. They're in the streets. This is a highly organized effort because these folks want attention. I want to go back to Rob Schmidt from Fox News, who's live here in New York City with the latest on this breaking story. How are those guys acting out there?
Well, Tricia, at this point, the NYPD is saying enough is enough. As you look behind me here, you'll notice that the crowd has minimized pretty significantly. It's starting to disperse. It's breaking up. This was thousands of people about an hour ago or 90 minutes ago. But you see the barricades are out and the push is on to get these people to go home after what's been about a 4-hour protest that started in Union Square around 14th Street and moved all the way up Broadway, then up 6th Avenue and into Midtown here and right outside of Trump Tower. We are not sure if Donald Trump is home tonight. I've heard from a couple of people that he might be away checking on some properties. We don't know. If he is home, he no doubt knows that thousands of people were outside screaming in protest at his election for presidency. Which I'm sure is somewhat unsettling, but not unseen. It's happened before, and this is a part of America. This is what we do. We protest, and we allow people to protest. And this was a loud one, and this was a very young protest. This was a lot of kids that are coming into the world right now, coming out of college, a lot of them in college that are angry about the situation they're coming into. They're angry about the president and some of the president-elect and some of the things that were said. And they found some kind of solace, a lot of them, in the words of Bernie Sanders. They didn't get Bernie Sanders, and a lot of them, I think, had to settle for Hillary Clinton, and then thinking they had Hillary Clinton was going to win. And when that didn't happen, I think it erupted into this anger that you saw here tonight.
I'll tell you, Rob,
so
it could be amazing. We've been talking about the economic opportunity that is afoot for this country. And if he is able to get all the ducks in a row and get everyone in Washington on board, you could see really meaningful policy changes that really start to jumpstart our economy, that get all those kids out working because they need a job. They should be getting to bed right now and getting ready for work tomorrow morning as opposed to all taken to the streets in that way. Rob Schmidt, thank you very much. We'll continue checking back in with you. Donald Trump has vowed to put America first and has put the world on notice that if he is elected, all bets are off. Now that there is a new sheriff in town, what does President Trump need to do about Iran, Syria, Iraq, Afghanistan, and of course, the fight against terror and ISIS? Sebastian Gorka, world-renowned terror expert, he joins me next. Leslie, you agree with that?
Well, it depends on what he decides to do, because think about this. If you want to preserve your legacy and you have somebody who is saying, hey, look, I'm going to do these 7 things when I get into office, and if you look at the executive orders, a little more than that, to undo everything you did in your legacy, you may not pardon, because one thing that the Republicans in the House have a field day with is anything Clinton, foundation, emails, Benghazi, or anything you can tie to Clinton, which ties up time, ties up money, and makes it harder to get things done, which further angers the American people and gets them riled up to come out and vote.
The panel's got some thoughts on what you just said
in November.
But Barack Obama is actually implicated in the email scandal. You know, he claimed and he told the American people when he addressed us that he didn't know about this private email server, and we know for a fact that he did, and that he had regular correspondence with Hillary Clinton through an email that was at hillaryclinton.com. So, I mean, he knew that this was not an official government address, and he lied to us point blank. Does he want us to litigate this in the court of public opinion for the next 6 months after his administration?
Well, you know, to a certain extent, it has been litigated in the court of public opinion in that the people chose not to elect Hillary Clinton as the next
I think there's one other pardon that could get Barack Obama into even more trouble. Oscar Lopez Rivera is a convicted terrorist and a Puerto Rican nationalist that many Latino Democrats want to see pardoned by President Obama and released from federal prison for bombing Fonz's Tavern in New York in the late 70s. It's a very, very tricky issue, especially among Latino Democrats in the Northeast. Melissa Mark Viverito, a top Clinton surrogate, is pushing very hard.
Well, we're watching all of it. We're right here. We're not going anywhere. And just getting started. Thank you. Radio hosts Chris Hahn and Leslie Marshall. Leslie, you know, what are you're a liberal radio host. Chris, you're a conservative.
No, I'm a liberal.
Forgive me. Usually we have one of each. I got tripped up this time because it's
you forgot?
you two and me. All right.
What? Am I subtle in my progressiveness with you? Is that what you're thinking, Trish?
Hey, listen,
I know it's been a long day.
I literally have not slept in probably 40 hours, so you got to cut me some slack. Anyway, what are your radio show hosts, your radio show listeners saying to you today, Leslie?
Well, I just read something on Twitter that puts together what my listeners said, which in a nutshell is, you demonized our President Obama for years. You just were killing Hillary Clinton, and now you're saying, hey, unite. Trust is earned, for one, and then a lot of the actions and the rhetoric and proposals of Donald Trump are going to make it harder for liberal lefties like me and my listeners to come to the unity table.
Yeah, you know, you say that now, but, you know, Kennedy was just on, and I thought she had a pretty good point, Chris, in that she said there's some value in, you know, being the underdog and
right.
people thinking that, you know, you're not going to be able to get anything done and you're this, that, and the other. Barack Obama came into office and, my goodness, people thought he was a hero. And yet, you know, look, I know he's your guy, but the economic numbers have been lousy. Our country is in an international mess. And, you know, all that he promised in the way of hope and change and unifying us, it didn't happen.
It sounds familiar. We've got a guy coming into office who made a lot of promises. And it's not the progressives he's going to have to worry about calling him out on his promises. It's the people who he made those promises to, his base. I don't think he's going to build a wall. I don't think he's going to get out of the Iran deal. I don't think he's going to renegotiate trade deals. And if he doesn't do that, it's not me he's going to have to apologize to. It's his own base. Unlike Leslie, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
So why are you so pessimistic, though?
I'm not pessimistic.
You're pessimistic. You said that you don't think he's going to get anything he's promised done.
I think people have an opportunity to surprise you. And I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt until he doesn't deserve it anymore. I am one of those people, like Hillary Clinton said today, he's the President of the United States. I wish him well because his success is the nation's success.
And by the way, he got a lot of your party's voters. I mean, Leslie, that was the key. It was the middle-class, blue-collar Democrats, along with some independents, that came out in droves for him. This was a missed opportunity for her. She neglected these people, and the result is what we now have.
Well, I don't disagree that this was a segment of the population in some states where she definitely should have campaigned more and spoken to, it's the economy, stupid, the middle class and the laborers out there, the blue-collar workers. But I don't think that we can ignore that when I was hearing things like Georgia is too close to call, Arizona is too close to call, she made some gains in red states. She did win by a very small amount the popular vote. And what we have seen here, whether you like Trump or Clinton, this is a very divided country. Well, is this the guy to unite it?
Well,
I'm not sure.
You know, don't count him out just yet. He hasn't gotten there yet.
I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
We are, you know, it's a process, and this is the democratic process, and we'll see what he can do. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Chris, thank you to all of you for being here tonight.